Yeah, Matt. So I have this vision, right? I have this vision of of getting industry professionals together, be it an apprentice, project manager, a district manager, an area manager, a mechanic, industry personnel. I have this vision of getting people together in the pursuit of excellence, um, sort of like personal growth, but with the focus, on our industry, right? What can we do collectively to enhance our industry? What can we do collectively to, you know, elevate the industry by elevating ourselves, right? Like, and I want to bring that opportunity together in person in New York City. So that's going to be the next step. Whether it's going to
Awesome.
be this month or next month, I want to get people together. Um,
How do you want them to reach out to you if they're interested?
oh, just message me on LinkedIn.
Hello, and welcome to the Elevator Careers Podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group. I am your host, Matt Allred. In this podcast, we talk to the people whose lives and careers are dedicated to the vertical transportation industry to inform and share lessons learned, building upon the foundation of those who have gone before to inspire the next generation of elevator careers. Today, our guest is Ed Rivera, also known as Your Elevator Pal. Ed is a regional modernization trainer with TK Elevator based out of New York City and has been in the industry many years. Ed has a passion for continuously improving the elevator industry and those in it. In the near future, Ed wants to start a live, in-person elevator industry networking group to continue to build each other. Message Ed on LinkedIn if you are interested in participating. So
Yeah.
Ed, welcome to the show.
Wow. Well, Matt, thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a couple of years, honestly. And so,
That's crazy. It has been a couple of years.
yeah, it was February of 2022, as I recall. So that's it's a long time, and honestly, you've got a lot more to share. And obviously, our conversation recently reminded me of that it's time to get you back on here. And so this time, I want to talk to you about your career transition because it was shortly after we did that interview that you left
Yeah.
TEI, joined TK, and I'm just curious what kind of inspired that change? 'Cause that was a big change for you.
It was a huge change. It wasn't a change it was never in my plan. You could put it that way. I never had a plan to leave TEI. Um,
Right.
TEI has always been my home. I still consider TEI my home.
How long were you at TEI?
Oh, wow, over 15 years, I think 17 years, a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, long, long time. Yeah,
You kind of grew up there.
I absolutely did. My first, it was the only company that was when I got into local one. I worked for TEI. It was,
Right.
as an apprentice and mechanic, and then foreman, and you know, a couple of different roles within the organization. So
Right.
yeah, it was, it was home, man. And like I said, I still consider it home. Whether they
Yeah.
want, whether they would, let me back into the house or not, I don't know.
Now you're the prodigal, right? It's like, nah, you
Yeah,
can't come home.
I don't know. I don't know. But it's definitely a great place. I don't think I would have had the experiences I had I started in another company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you've grown in ways that maybe other companies, especially, I don't know. And sometimes I just see people who get a little pigeonholed in certain companies because of the way they're structured and because of the way that, maybe it's just the owner, right? Unless you have, you're the son or the, the close relative, you don't get the next opportunity. But certain companies, small or big, I might talk to a guy today that feels like the structure is just kind of limiting to where he's at, even though it's a big company. So, um, to be able to do all you've done is awesome.
Yeah. Again, I said I don't think it would have happened. It couldn't have happened any other way. I think it definitely
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
What was it that kind of inspired this change then? Because you said you'd never thought of it. You'd been there, you know, your whole life essentially. What kind of happened that led you to make that change?
uh, well, I guess the opportunity presented itself in a unique way, actually, and it came from LinkedIn, not like a LinkedIn job description,
Okay. Uh-huh.
but a post that I had created um, a year or so prior to the job opportunity, almost a year and a half before the job opportunity presented itself.
Right.
And it was the removal of a large Otis machine. And Marty Walker, who works for TK, he's like
Hmm.
the mod director.
Right.
No, that was his title at the time. I think it's similar. I think they changed some names around, but he's still,
Okay.
like the national mod guy.
Right.
He had reached out asking me a question about the
Mhm.
machine removal. I really had no idea. All right, I'm happy to help anybody I can. Right,
Right.
you have a question, and I can provide some insight and guidance. I'm going to share it with you. I don't know
So it was
any
more of a
better.
conversation. Like you said,
It was
it wasn't a job that was put in front of you. It's more of a, hey, let's talk. Let's create a relationship essentially.
yeah, but more like, hey, this was the question. How long did it take you? And I was like, this is how long it took. And then I wrote like a whole extensive list of all the equipment you need to execute the work. I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, hey, I'm just want to help somebody.
Sure. Paying
He
it
said,
forward.
mentioned,
Here you go.
yeah, here you go. If I can help in any other way, let me know. And he said, yeah, I'd love to meet you if I'm ever in New York. I said, yeah, sure, cool, let's do it. If you ever come to New York, let me know.
Right.
A year plus, passes by. And he sends me a note. Hey, I'm going to be in New York City. I'd love to meet you. And kind of said, yeah, sure. So we met. Um, and he had brought the Northeast president at the time, Joe Smith, with him to
Okay.
lunch,
Hmm.
and we chatted. Had a little, nice lunch and chat. And they wanted to present me with a job opportunity.
Wow.
It's like, all right,
Just like
listen,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like, we want to present you a job opportunity. It's like, okay, listen, guys, let's not ruin lunch, or let's not ruin this this experience right now. Kind of connecting. If this job opportunity has anything to do with me giving up my union card, I
Gotcha.
don't want anything to do with it. Like, I'm not
Right.
looking. That's not something I was looking to do.
Mhm.
And they said, no, no, no. It's you get to keep your union card, and this is the role. And they kind of described it. The title was like regional mod trainer. You provide training, technical training, and support to the field personnel, and we think you'd be a good fit for the role. And I said, it sounds interesting. I don't know these people, so but it sounded like it's
Right.
all right. I'll chew on it. But that was also, it was probably around November, and I was in the middle of a project. That project wasn't going to be done till April or May the
Right.
following year. And I said, let me tell you something. Like, I will not like walk away from this project. Like, I have to
Right.
finish this project, and this project's not done till April or May. So, if that's a deal breaker, that's a deal breaker, because I'm not going to just leave.
Right.
And they, no, no, no. If you're actually looking to join, we would wait for you.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, after that, it was just like, let me see who these people are, kind of like make some phone calls to people in the industry. Do you know this person? Do you know this person? Are they trustworthy?
Kind of
So
doing
on
a
and so forth.
background check, which is in reverse, which is awesome. I love that you're doing your homework to say, tell me about this guy.
Yeah, you got to get the feel for them, right? Because
Sure.
I want to, if I were to make this change, I had to feel right. It was like,
Sure.
is this something that's going to make sense for me? And I had reached out to two of my mentors. You know, I won't name them for security reasons.
Sure. It's fine.
But no, I had some talks with these two people I really look up to, just to get some guidance and direction and get their thoughts on the role and the opportunity. And they kind of like like, it sounds like a perfect role for you. Sounds like a really
Cool.
unique experience and opportunity, something you should, heavily consider.
Yeah.
Um, so, it took some time to consider it while I was still, wrapping up the project because we're at the tail end on a couple of bumps
Sure.
to completion. And a few months after that, they had asked me to take a trip down to Atlanta to see the test tower.
Cool.
Yeah. So, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to go down there, but I'm going down there not to see the cool test tower. I mean, it's elevator stuff. So it's going to be
Gonna
like,
be cool.
innovative and cutting edge technology. So it will be pretty cool to go see. But I wanted an opportunity to get a little more like intimate with them to get a feel for who they were. Because I don't want to work for like I didn't want to work like a bunch of sales personnel, right? Like we just got this guy's
Tell me
like
that just a little bit more. I mean, not to throw salespeople under the bus per se, but what do you mean by that? I'm guessing.
no, well, I want so like I didn't I for me, well, and this is probably the way I had viewed like the corporate side of the industry, right?
Okay.
Right. I had pull a stigma, like I had this, I had this view of, like a corporate America. Like I don't want to deal with that BS, like for lack of better words, right? And I
Okay.
and I definitely don't want to throw no salesperson under the bus. I just kind of use that. Excuse
No,
me.
and that's why I asked you to define it because I know you're not, but I just wanted you to in your mind, like you say, you've got this idea of what corporate America is like, and you've got this some concern about walking into this situation. So I just wanted you to share that. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah. No, so I had to get that feel. I want to be around people who wanted to actually execute,
Right.
who want to operate. Um, so I made the trip down there. I met some people while I was down there, and they were incredibly welcoming. Um, and at the end of the trip, when I was on my way back, I kind of told my wife, well, I'm going to really consider, joining the company and
Cool.
taking on this job opportunity. Um,
So how long from kind of introduction lunch meeting until you actually said how long did you chew on this opportunity before you actually decided to take it?
oh, let's see, November, December, January, February, March, up to April, so 6 months.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was 6 months. It was yeah, it certainly wasn't impulsive.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
And it wasn't just, for sometimes people make a decision for, a couple bucks, extra, but
No, no, that wasn't the driving factor. I was TI's always done well by me, so that wasn't
right.
it.
Mhm.
It was just this unique opportunity, and it was just like take it and grow from it.
Sure.
I mean, the worst that would happen would be that it didn't work out, and I'd go back to running big elevator modernization projects in New York. Like to me, I didn't feel like it was a lose lose. I
Sure.
felt like I
Sure.
couldn't lose in the situation. Um, I knew it was going to hurt, hurt some people in the company. Definitely was never my intention at
Yeah,
all.
so tell me a little bit more about that because there are risks, right? There are just some, like you say, personal risks. And sometimes people take it personal when you decide to, hey, I'm gonna go pursue this opportunity. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I was. Listen, I was kind of expecting that to happen because it's just natural. It's not,
Sure.
I don't think
Right.
any of the dissatisfaction was in unwarranted, if that's the right word. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah.
It was, but again, the decision was never made in like malice, right? I was never like there was never any anger towards my decision. I didn't make it hate and haste. Like it was just like I need to just do this
Mm. Yeah. For
thing.
me, for my own growth and development and
Yeah,
up.
it's one of those rare roles. Like I've never even know. I didn't know a role like this existed. So
And they may have created it just because who knows, all right? Here's this guy who knows how to he knows mods better than we do, and maybe he can teach us something. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, and just everything, all the parameters fell in. Like this is kind of like this was made for me to do. Like not that they made it up because I know that role like they have it in different parts of the region, but
Hmm.
it felt like it almost felt like the perfect role for me at the time, and it still feels like a great decision. So
No, that's huge. I mean, you've been there almost 2 years, right? 2 in April.
2 in April, yeah.
Yep, yep. So, was it difficult to walk away after being there so long?
Oh yeah, 100%,
Yep.
100%. Incredibly difficult. Again, it was just I didn't make the decision, you know, quickly. It took time to make the decision, and I had a not I don't say the consequences because there weren't consequences, but I knew I was gonna hurt
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
relationships, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
making
yeah.
making the change, because
Sure.
if I look at the owners, they they were like father figures, you know what I
Family,
mean? Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, certainly they were. It's just like these they. It was more than a working relationship, so it was
Mm.
like so no, it wasn't easy to do.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What were some of your biggest fears of actually stepping into that opportunity?
Well, no, I didn't have any fears. I didn't have
That's
any
cool.
fears.
That's impressive. I think I would have had a
Yeah,
ton.
because I like I said, I didn't feel like I wasn't gonna lose either way,
It wasn't
right?
okay. Yeah,
Like
nowhere
there
to
was no
lose.
like I wasn't losing value making the move, right? And I
Hmm.
don't think I was losing opportunities
Cool.
making the move. So it was like, okay, if this doesn't work out, there's always going to be something else, whether
Yeah, yeah.
it's you know back to TEI, whether it's another company, whether I start my own company.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I just felt comfortable in that. Like I said,
Yeah.
the worst case scenario was I went back to running projects. Like
You know how to do that.
yeah, 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 yeah. Or like, take on this new role and get better at delivering my message and get better at training and teaching.
Mm.
Getting to do what I was already doing on a larger scale.
Yeah, yeah. So you and I talked at one point, and the idea came up that sometimes advocating for yourself and taking opportunities can be a little bit of a lonely road, right? Because you
Oh,
you don't get to take your whole entourage with you sometimes, and it's like, man, I gotta go this route on my own. You ever felt
yeah.
that?
Oh, absolutely. I felt like that my whole career. And that's not even a bad thing. It's like because the reality, like I think the reality is you gotta make these choices like for yourself, right? And it's
Hmm.
scary doing that, in a sense where um then not everyone's always going to be clapping for you. You're not going to make a change.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a change and hope everybody's clapping for you, oof, you're gonna
Well,
don't hold
and
your
on
breath.
both sides of the aisle, right? Because I mean, I
Yeah,
talked to somebody just recently who they moved to a new company, and the new company, some of the people there didn't want them, so they're trying to sabotage that person's entrance into this new company. Well, the old company probably wasn't happy either. So you're right. There's risk. There's you know not everybody's clapping.
no, not everyone was clapping. Some people were happy, some people weren't happy. Some people, I made the worst decision in my career. You're gonna regret it. Some people were like, you're gonna excel. You're gonna do great. And it's just like, I don't know about you guys, but I I feel good. Like this is okay. Like I've been making these kind of decisions, my whole career. Some people understand it, some people don't, but it's not their job to understand your journey. It's your journey. I
Sure.
think if you do it uh, with a level of, respect, a
Right.
level of integrity, hold true to your own principles and values, then what more could you ask for? Like I said, you
Right.
do something, they're gonna boo you. You don't do something, they're gonna boo you. So it doesn't, or they're gonna cheer for you. So you you can't, make those decisions based on how someone else is going to
On other
perceive.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, how they're going to perceive your decision. You know.
Yeah. And I hear you. I mean, I know a lot of times in my life I've got a streak of a people pleaser at times, and so sometimes there's been some fear about, oh, what's so and so going to think, or what's so and so going to think, and to your point, you know, they're not the ones living my life, not the ones living your life. You know, you got to make the decision, do the best you can to make the right ones, and go with it.
Yeah, man. And listen, again, you do it, and if you fail at it, fail. So, at least you tried. Right? You gotta try. You know, I wouldn't want to be someone who like jumped at every opportunity thrown at me. Like I'm gonna just hop around. You know,
Right.
if I look at my career, if I would look at my career in this industry, I've only been with three companies. Right. I started off filing for Boca Group,
Right.
right? And then I was at TEI, and and TK Elevator.
Yep.
So and while I was growing, there's always been opportunities for myself.
Sure.
I didn't jump at every one that came my way. It just yeah, the universe just kind of came together, presented this opportunity that I found unique, and like let's give it a shot.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I'm glad you brought that up because I do see at times people who, it's like, why, look at the resume and, hop in every 18 months or something. It's like, what, well, I was recruited here. I was recruited here. But to your point, nobody's making you do that. You've got to choose for your own, career and situation, and not necessarily take everything that comes in front of you, because then it's like, well, who's leading your career? Is it just somebody that's pulling you around on a leash, or are
Yeah,
you making the choices, saying no when it's appropriate, saying yes when it's appropriate, and you know, creating the career that you want versus somebody else wants?
yeah, and people leave, for these different reasons. But if you can kind of navigate your career to on this like growth, right? Like I
Sure.
wouldn't have left if I would never have left if the role was to be like a foreman. Like
Right.
I was doing that already, so why would I leave? Like
Right.
it just wouldn't be. I was, again, there was nothing wrong. I was happy there, so I didn't go. I just went for this. Here's this unique role, and let's try something new, man.
Yeah. So tell me about just a little bit about this role. You're a regional trainer, is that right?
Yeah, that's what they call. That's what they. I always found the name funny, but like, yeah, they call it a regional mod regional trainer, something along those
You're
lines.
traveling a
Regional.
bit within the Northeast, or what
Yeah,
does
so the,
region look
the the
like?
role. Yeah, the role is the Northeast region,
Hmm.
and I've been mainly in New York, New Jersey, and Long Island. I've gone upstate a couple times. Um, I haven't, and then there hasn't been anything that's where I've been needed elsewhere just yet. I've been down to Philly,
Okay.
but that's considered like Mid Atlantic a couple of times to provide some support. And when
So
you
are
go
you
to the
mostly training people as they're doing the mods, or before they do the mods? Or I'm just
no,
curious what
it's
that
it's
looks.
like yeah, so it's in the field, right? And the
Hmm.
project's underway, and so a lot of it too is like with the roles, it's as a card carrier, I could be in the field and I could work
Yeah.
with my tools and everything in local one. When I go
Hmm.
visit like another state and that has another local, I go to the hall, I check in,
Okay.
hey, I'm here to just provide training. Like a lot of times you go to these other locals, they don't want you to use any tools, which completely respect that, and
Sure. Sure.
you go provide the guidance. And for the most part, everybody, everywhere I've gone, people have been welcoming. So that's been you know reassuring. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sort of like here to help, but and on that end, it's like so there's this aspect of the job where you're in the field and you're teaching best practices,
Hmm.
and depending on the mechanic, right? So sometimes the mechanic's just going to become in my experience so far, like I've had a mechanic who was uh was going to be running his first project, right?
Cool.
So it's like, okay, cool, I could work with him a little bit and provide the sort of insights that I have to run a project successfully,
Right.
or like efficiently, and then it's like work with the supervisors for best practices on how to help the mechanic and apprentice on the project be successful. right? How
Cool.
do I help them clear the path and like look ahead and create schedules? And so it's almost like there's internal training and there's external training, like in the field and then like
Sure.
in the office as needed, right? I don't go and like I'm here and this is how you should do everything and follow everything I say. It's just like you got your job, you got your job. I'm
Well,
here as
you're not. I mean, it's not like you're accountable for their project as much as you're. Like you said, you're there to provide support. Somebody else is ultimately responsible for whether that project is profitable or not. Correct.
yeah, essentially yeah, because the role it's a regional role, so the region provides the support to the local branches.
Right.
Um, and then I've worked with the sales teams looking at projects to bid on to help
Cool.
ensure that we're capturing the essence of the project, right? The actual scope of the work, and we're
Right.
capturing the required hours to do the project. And that's been a really successful venture. Working with the sales team and kind of like you know standardizing a couple of things, and then
Cool.
like when they go to look at a project, if it's a big one, I'll join them. But if not, we have like between us, we develop processes, to implement on what you should be looking for, what kind of photos to take, what kind of videos.
Cool.
Because if I'm not gonna be able to make it there, I ask for videos. Like I want to
Right.
see the path to the motor room. I want to see like a bunch of things, and just to help ensure that the team captures the hours. So that the
Very
sale
cool.
that they do make, we could actually execute on that sale.
Right. Right. Because that is your job, right? The execution, or at least training on the execution of how to carry it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's like
Yep.
this front end, and then like you know the operations, and then the field execution. So I get to provide support in those three areas.
Awesome.
Um, yeah.
So what brings you the most joy in your profession?
Huh. What brings me the most joy? I think uh, the most joy mm, is the sort of the long game, right? Knowing that we are working towards striving for improvement, right? Like I don't that brings me the most joy. Like the moment I feel that we're not going to improve, because you could throw the word like improve around. Let's just improve, and but like if the
Sure.
individual's daily actions don't showcase the pursuit of improvement as a team, then I wouldn't want to be around that team. So um, that's what kind of gets me excited. Like that's the part I like.
Pursuit of excellence is what I'm hearing you say. Is that
Yeah, it really that is that chase, is that pursuit. Because I understand what it takes to develop a winning team, right? I
Mhm.
know, and it's like with elevator projects or projects in general, right? Projects have a start and they have a finish, right? That's the
Right.
definition of a project, right? So to see that when you start a project and to finish a project, right? You don't get to practice elevators.
Right.
You don't get to practice modernizations. You're essentially you're practicing every project.
Right.
And that comes at a cost, right? So that cost has to be understood. So that's where it goes to the point where, okay, we're going to lose on this one a little bit, but we lost on this project a little because we were in the pursuit of excellence. So that on the next project we just get better. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
that's
a learning curve, right? You're constantly driving that down, and yeah, maybe like I say, maybe it cost us a little bit, but if we've just learned something that's going to save us on every next project, then it's worth learning it.
it is. And again, that's where you go to the point where like it takes time. So
Hmm.
excuse me, it's a commitment for the organization, any organization, right? To make a
Right.
commitment to do that and to really understand that it does take time. But again, you have to see that it's being pursued daily,
Right. Right.
right? You have to know that, and I can see it in the team. Like I can know if we're moving in that direction.
Right.
Otherwise, again, then we'd all be wasting our time, and then it's not exciting for me. I don't want to just collect a paycheck. I want to build something, right? Like that's what
Awesome.
what gets me going. That's what gets me excited when I get up and come in Monday morning. I'm like, all right, let's do it this week. Let's get better
Right.
at this.
Well, and that's one thing I see in your online presence and your posts is you're kind of reaching out to the world saying, "Hey, look at this. We can do like you said, like with that thing that Marty saw. It's like this is how we do X, Y, and Z, and it's like, oh wow, I can learn something from him, and he can teach my people. And you've actually shared this with me other times. Just that the idea of wanting to connect and kind of drive that idea of excellence. But and I think one of the things that goes through my head is it seems like in this connected world we're more disconnected than we've ever been. Because actual connection, it seems like it's harder and harder to get. You can get a text, but is that a real connection? Even an email sometimes is, I don't know. I'm guilty
it
of
is.
misinterpreting or misreading, and it's like, no, that's
Well,
not
yeah,
even what I meant.
you can't tell tone from an email or a text, or
Right,
it's impossible. Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn's been a great in a way that I've been able to connect with the industry
right.
uh, from a distance, right? If you think about it, right, it's just like on a screen, and uh, what you see is really what you get, right? There's nothing like that's who I am, whether it's not like something made up. It's just like this is me. So when you do meet me in person, it's like, oh, this is the same person that I've kind of known already.
Right,
Um,
right.
but yeah, you want to kind of take and a lot of people are connected around the world, which is also incredibly fascinating.
True.
Um, but I think there's opportunity, to connect locally that
So
could be.
yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, you
Yeah.
shared with me kind of a vision at one point, and I was just curious, and maybe you can share it now. But if you were to do one thing to connect, to help people encourage people to strive for excellence, what's that one thing you do?
Sort of taking it past just like the post on LinkedIn, right? Like
Okay.
um, that pursuit. What I'm looking to do, and I'm kind of like I've put a feeler out there. I like to bring that community to life, right, on a local level right now, because that's just not looking to travel.
Paint
So
that for me a little bit. What does that look like?
well, what it looks like in my head at the moment, and I've been toying with this for a bit. Um, industry professionals,
Hmm.
and from the field or from the office, whether you're an apprentice, a mechanic, a foreman, or adjuster, assistant project manager, a coordinator, just the elevator industry, right?
Okay.
Um, and sort of get together once a month, once a quarter. I'm not sure, and not like get together and kind of like just have a social. I mean, there's a social aspect to it because
Hmm.
you're connecting, you're getting together, but sort of getting together and like figuring out. Like I imagine like the first get together is like you know, well, who you are, what you're doing, and where do you want to be.
Hmm.
And once we figure that out, or once not figure it out, but we learn that about each other, we can look for ways to kind of help each other grow. And how that looks, I think it could be something like uh, these were the books I've read that helped me grow my career. These are the online courses that I took. Or these were the things I did as I was growing, on my professional journey, and look to learn from each other in order to help each other, right? And if we can like, if we're all striving for this level of excellence, I think not only does it elevate the individual, but it'll eventually elevate the industry, right?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
where we where excellence is the standard, and no one like no company, no union, non-union, no one, like the industry as a whole is just striving for that excellence. Now, is this going to just change the ship overnight? No, but I think there's a lot of people who want the same things that I want for the industry,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and to grow professionally, you know. I'd
Well,
like to I'm looking
yeah.
to give more than I would receive, right? Like not
Yeah.
that I wouldn't even learn, but I feel like we can, you know, being able to connect with people who can add value to each other, I think would be pretty interesting. And I don't know if it will flourish into anything, but I think it's worth exploring.
Absolutely. Well, and I mean, and like you say, it may not change the whole ship at once, but if it's kind of like the old saying about the starfish, you throw a starfish back. In other words, it matters to one person at that time. And so even if
Sure.
it's 20 people that get together in Queens or Manhattan or wherever local happens to be and just say, hey, let's just meet and talk. We'll do some networking, we'll do some mentoring, we'll answer some questions, ask some questions, and encourage each other in the pursuit of excellence is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's yeah, you kind of nailed it. You know, like I said, I think it could be something. You know, it's not going to be like let's get together and bash our our companies and
Yeah,
organizations. Like we don't need to, you know,
sure.
waste time with that stuff. Like there's faults everywhere. You know, talk no, it highlighting them and kind of like you know, or complaining about them won't really do anything. You know, you can highlight some things that as a whole the industry could do better, and we can kind of like have those discussions, and maybe it sparks a change. You know, maybe it's just you know, like again, you know, one person gains something from the whole experience, then it's a win.
Cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, you never know where to go. I mean, I do yeah, see that. Yeah, if somebody's there to complain, well, then they're not really willing to take responsibility for themselves because they're just pointing fingers at other people. So it might be a way to educate those that want to go that direction. That dude, that's not even helping you.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, sometimes you don't get to connect with people in the industry that are like in you know that are in different stages of their careers, right? Like
Yeah,
this, you know, it could be an opportunity for people who are you know more seasoned to you know connect with you know individuals who aren't as seasoned and maybe get an opportunity to share. And this, I've been blessed in have you know in having you know connected with amazing individuals in this industry who you know inspire me for more that
right.
people wouldn't have access to. Um, Not like it's a super elite club, but I'm just saying, like, I happened to work this place, and this place had these amazing people who, like,
Sure.
inspired me, you know, to pursue great things. So maybe giving that access to others would be,
Yeah.
who knows? I don't know.
Well, I mean, what I'm hearing you say is an opportunity to give back and invest in others like I was invested in by others, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Give back. Give a chance to give back, and see where it goes. I'm gonna put it out there and see how it works out. And it
Absolutely.
might,
No, let's do that. Let's
yeah,
in fact, hopefully we'll get some people listening to this and when we throw it out there and you'll get some people respond and say, "Hey, I want to be part of the Excellence Club," or whatever you call it.
yeah. No, that'd be cool. Hey, listen, if it's gonna be in Manhattan, it's gonna be in New York City. You know, that's gonna be the meeting point. So yeah, if anybody is interested in doing something in meeting, really, let's meet and see. You know,
Sounds great.
I have a structure, and I just got to see it come to life. And
You gotta have some
oh,
people show up as it sounds like, right? Just
yeah, just let's just
interested
show
people.
up and see. You know how this is going to work out. And
Awesome.
maybe it's
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I love the vision, and I think there are a lot of people that are gonna like it as well and want to get on board. And honestly, if I lived in New York, I would want to come hang out with you guys. Sounds awesome.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ed, thank you. It's been a pleasure and a privilege interviewing you again. So thank you for being with me.
Yeah, listen, thanks for the opportunity. I definitely appreciate it, man. And keep up the great work. Everybody loves elevated careers, so you know, keep those interviews coming.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you for listening to the Elevator Careers podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group, a leader in elevator industry recruiting. You can check us out online at elevatorcareers.net. Please subscribe, and until next time, stay safe.